The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." But Jesus said, "Friend, who set me to be a judge or arbitrator over you?" Jesus said to the crowd, "Take care, be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." Then Jesus told them a parable. The land of a rich man produced abundantly, and he thought to himself, "What should I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "I'll do this. I'll pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, 'Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you. And the things you have prepared, whose will they be?' So it is with those who store up treasure for themselves, but are now rich toward God." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Just want to say a few words about an odd phrase that we hear in Paul's letter to the Ephesians. He talks about you were dead following the course of this world, and then he has this phrase, following the ruler of the power of the air. Interesting phrase. Following the ruler of the power of the air, the spirit that is work among those who are disobedient. Really interesting description here. So what's going on here? One of this is when they began to think about evil, they were searching for a place. Well, where do we put evil? Where do we put Satan? How do we locate Satan? So in their cosmology, the world was divided into heaven, where God lives, and earth, where we live. But the spirit obviously has been cast down, or Satan has obviously been cast down, but Satan doesn't live here with us. So they came to the conclusion Satan must be in the air. God rules in the heaven. We stumble along on earth. Satan rules the air. He's all around us all the time. Now it's really interesting because when Jesus talks about the source of our self-centeredness, he said, these things come from within you. They don't come from the air. He said they come from inside of you. They come from your heart. So he's kind of moving this awareness along, in a sense, by saying, don't locate Satan in the air, because it's very tempting then to say, the world is a bad place. Don't go outside. Because if you go outside, and outside could be outside the church, or outside your circle, or outside wherever you might be, you're going to be prey to Satan. Jesus is saying, no, Satan can be in the church. Satan can be in your heart when you're at prayer. Satan doesn't occupy the air. He's somehow inside of us. We forget sometimes that the New Testament was written largely without an appreciation of the interior mind of human beings. It isn't until Freud comes along that we become aware of the unconscious, that there's a whole unconscious world that's going on that we are completely unaware of in our minds. And then Jung comes along and he introduces us to archetypes and this strange phenomenon that people who are physically unconnected, unrelated, can be using the same kind of archetypical imagery in their dreams to talk about something they're trying to process, or trying to make sense of some crisis in their life. If Jesus had been aware of, or if the culture had been aware of the unconscious, they might have worded all of this very differently. And it helps us to appreciate that it's this in our unconscious that we become, that these self-centered ideas are given birth to. So when we have this story in the gospel about this individual who says, I know what I will do, well, that idea he didn't just create that. That came from the world in which he lives, where people think this way, that money belongs to me and I can do anything I want with it, and it permeates into our unconscious, and then it leaks back out into our behavior. We need to be much more aware of what's going in, what we're putting inside of our hearts, what we're putting inside of our minds, what we're putting inside of however we think, because if we're putting dystopic ideas in there, if we're putting images and ideas in there that are toxic, then eventually those ideas are going to leak out, and they're going to shape our behavior. So we have to, in a sense, be on guard, not about the world around us, but about what we're taking in with our senses, what we're reading, what we're looking at, what we're reflecting on, and making sure that it's all true and beautiful and good. And as long as we're putting all of those things that are true and beautiful and good into our minds, into our unconscious, then good will then come forth. So let's stand now and offer our prayers as we continue our journey.